My people, what up, though? We back with another episode of All Black Men Need Therapy. My name is Chief
And I'm Bell.
My name is Prentice.
Eugene Powell. What it do, fellas? What it is, what it was, what it does, cuz? Feel like it's been a while since I seen you boys. We ain't recording 2 weeks, and it be feeling like months.
It do feel hella long since we recorded.
Yeah.
It be feeling mad long. What's the word, though, guys? How we living?
Shit, I'll go first.
We checking in, P. What's happening? Check in, B.
Um, I've been kind of fucked up since the day before Mother's Day, man. My mom sent me a long text message the day before, and it was it was intentional, which is what bothered me so much because it consisted of
Wait, before you
congrat.
finish, we are still not speaking?
So everything is the same. Nothing has changed, and like she would text me and I always respond with the utmost respect and all that ever since I told y'all I seen her. She hadn't reached out since then, since I seen her. And she sent me a text message the day before, but and I was at Sarai's sister's like celebration. I was with Sarai's family, and then I get this text out of nowhere. We was at a church. And my mom sent this message, this long message on, you know, hope you have a good Mother's Day. Congratulations on finding a new mother. I hope you're happy. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but please tell my grandkids I said hello and just all these things that didn't make sense. And I knew what she was doing because my mother has always, found a way to have like cynicism behind the things that she says. So it just it rubbed me so much the wrong way that I had to tell her, like, yo, if this is what you're going to do when you reach out to me, I need you to stop hitting me up. And that really fucked me up because that's the statement I've been trying to avoid from the longest that I felt coming because of the energy she gives me. And it made everything seem so final. You know what I mean? Like me telling my mom, you got to stop hitting me. Like, I need you to stop because this at this point is just, you're just poking. You know what I mean? This isn't about reconciliation. This isn't about anything. This is about you feeling like you're a victim. You're probably reminiscing the day before Mother's Day and you're feeling away. So you want to text me and you're texting me, congratulations on finding a new mother, which is, and I'm sitting right next to Sarai's mom while she says it. So it just kind of, it just rubbed me the wrong way and it irritated me. It made me really upset and it fucked up my whole mood. It fucked up Mother's Day. Sarai could sense it, and I just couldn't get over it. I just couldn't get over it. It was just permeating on my brain. So since then, I just kind of been, man, just kind of like dissecting all of my family dynamics, and I think all of those are really bothering right now. From justice, not that there's anything I want to do differently, but just all my family history and dynamics, I just hate it. I hate it. I feel like it's the only thing that I got a shorthand in. You know what I'm saying? And I don't be victim. I don't be, making myself a victim, but it just feels so fucked up. You know what I mean? It just feels so fucked up when I look back since I was born, all my family dynamics to now, to have this fucked up circumstance that I didn't ask for and did so many things to prevent. And I got it. So, I mean, that's my check in, but like that shit has been fucking with me. It's been fucking with me heavy, man. And I'm trying to
I
figure out, you know, I don't know.
It's crazy because I can see it in your face. I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah, and
And
the rest of life is fine. Rest of life is fine, but like, I can't. I ain't got shit to complain about other
So,
than that.
Chief, what do you hear? You said you see it and you hear it. What do you see and what do you hear?
there's like this hurt and angst in his voice, like this real melancholy, somber in his voice. You can see it in his face when he starts talking about it. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but he's not even like, he wasn't like, you had this, like you were talking to your right and not talking to us. You're kind of just like, like in your space. And I can see how, how it's weighing on you.
Yeah,
So
man.
what I heard is you care. despite what you say, you care. Because if you didn't care, it wouldn't bother you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess, and again, that situation is too deep to be solved in one conversation, and definitely not in a check-in. But I guess my question is, bro, like, regardless if reconciliation is possible, right? Let's just say it's not.
Mhm.
What would it look like if it was? Like, what would you need? Go as far as saying, what would you need to do? Because I'm just gonna assume, like I said, say reconciliation is not possible. I'm gonna assume that your mom would not be willing to do what you need her to do for you to feel good. So
Right.
what would you need to do to feel good about this situation? Because clearly you don't feel like the
That
cutoff.
that's what I had to cut her off. That's what I had to do in order to potentially feel better, because every time she reaches out, it's like,
What was that word again?
what do you mean? What did you
You
say? What I
said
say?
some shit that sounded like potentially, but
This nigga said potentially.
Oh, I see.
what?
Potentially.
Go
No,
ahead. Sorry. Go ahead,
I
man.
did. I think that's my point, man, is that I did what I felt I have to do in order to feel better, which was be
Okay.
like, yo, you got to stop reaching out to me, man, because this shit is too much.
The only thing I'll challenge is, and this I'm outside looking in. Outside looking in, what's the difference between what you did a few years ago?
Is that I made a final?
Between that comment and what you did how many ever years ago in this all 4 years ago, I guess at this point?
Yeah, I told my mom, don't hit me up no more.
Exactly. And here
That
we
was the
are.
difference. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't say that the first time you're saying.
No, not at all. I've always left the window open. You know what I'm saying? I was never like, don't talk to me. I was always trying to explain myself. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't want to. I didn't want to finalize it. I didn't. I've never wanted to. Even after I saw her a couple months ago, and she didn't want to get in the car, didn't want to hug me, didn't want, all that stuff. I still didn't finalize it. I walked away like, yo, when I saw her, it's been years. I told her I loved her. I was trying to hug her. I asked to give her a ride home. I did everything my heart naturally wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to close the door.
Right. But my question is, if reconciliation is possible, what would it look like from your side?
It would look like, honestly, man, it would look like me forcing myself to, uh, I think, conceal or put on the back burner in an unhealthy way. I honestly think the things that have transpired. I think it would force me to have to suck up something I think would be more damaging. It would be more damaging for me to have to suppress the feelings out of all the effort I've had, the things that have transpired. It wouldn't be healthy for me. So it would look like me doing something that's not healthy for me in order to potentially see where it could go. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like, so much is
It
happening.
makes perfect sense. But let me ask the question a different way, or let me try to attempt to summarize what you said a different way. Said differently, you're not able to forgive her. I'm asking. It's a question.
Nah, man. Okay. Yes, I'm able to forgive. I'm able to forgive, but due to me not being able to forget, I'm not willing to pursue.
Let it go.
Yeah, yeah. I've done too much. I've tried too hard. I've operated in a genuine, sincere space of love. I've gotten rejected one too many times. So I forgive you. I forgive her now. I forgive her for the message. It's just I see that this is just going to continue. I'm gonna get the same shit, and all it is a reminder that she's not well. That this isn't.
See, but I guess that's where I'm going with it. It's like assumptions, right? But let's just assume she's not of good or solid, sound mind. She's not solid from a mind, body, and soul standpoint. This is an assumption, right? Let's just assume that. But you are. You know what I'm saying? Like you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the way I'm looking at it is the point of my because what I asked, it sounds like reconciliation for you, which you may not be able to get there, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Would be to let that shit go. Because until you let that go, you can't. It is unhealthy. I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? Like it is unhealthy to hold on to it and to not. I don't want. I'm not suggesting that you have to let it go. So please hear me clear. What I am suggesting though is if that relationship means something to you, and I'm not trying to be facetious, but I'm just saying if that relationship means something to you, there's going to require it is going to require you to get way out of your comfort zone because at this point you are potentially the only one that can make a sound decision right now.
I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear
And
you.
I don't know that she could reciprocate that on the other
Yeah.
side, but like it's like if you're willing to do that, maybe it may, more importantly, from experience with my mom, and again, not saying your situation is exactly the same. The moment I was able to just let that shit go, like what caused us not to speak for 6 months, and I speak to my mom every day, bro. Every day. I speak to her FaceTime every day. So for me not to speak to her for 6 months was crazy. So, but I knew she wasn't going to budge. She wasn't going to budge. And
Right.
not that she wasn't of sound mind and body. She's just fucking old. It gets stuck in her ways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like she wasn't coming off her stance, even though she was in the wrong. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to just forgive her for what she did and move forward. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because that's the only way that this will be reconciled. And the moment that I let go of the hurt that she caused from her action, it was just like a relief. Like
Yeah.
it no longer controlled me. Like it's no longer like I'm no longer altering my day and life. And you may be way past this, right? But I'm just
Yeah.
speaking for me. I was no longer altering my day/life to avoid her or
Right.
to stick to my guns. Like, nah, I'm not budging. Like she shouldn't have did that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like the moment I was,
Yeah.
I'm good,
I,
and
I
everything was fun.
I did that. I did that after I seen her. I accepted it. I accepted that whole experience. I said there was nothing I could do. I operated my space. The difference now is that I literally really chose me over us. And this is the first. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never chosen me over our relationship. And that's what I did on Mother's Day. I chose me. Like I forgave her for everything. But what's not gonna happen is I'm not gonna leave myself open to receiving conflict or receiving something that I can't do anything about. And I know my mom. You get what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
know she sent me the
that's
message the day before Mother's Day, knowing that I was going to be celebrating Sarai, knowing that I'd possibly see Sarai's mom. My mom's strategic like that. You know what I mean? Like my ex was like that, which is why they didn't get along because they were so similar. Like getting an argument before boarding the plane, so the vacation is fucked up. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
things like that. So
Just remember, in all of that, she's also hurt.
yeah,
Regardless if she's right or
yeah,
wrong,
yeah.
I'm just saying she's also
Right.
hurt.
And I respect that. I've just chosen not to be responsible for any of that and to remove myself out of that equation. I'm not willing to assist her with the pain, with whatever trauma that's resulted. I'm not willing to be a resource for her to get that together. And
Understood.
if our interaction is going to be based on your pain and what you're going through, we can't interact.
Understood.
Yeah. So that's the 15-minute Prentice
Yeah.
check-in, which is why I
This is
first.
what happens when we don't catch up, though. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, yeah, no,
it's a
no, for
lot.
sure.
Yeah.
Especially this was Mother's Day, so that was a while ago. But I think to Bell's point, P, we have done a tremendous amount of growing over the years, and with all of that, I think you're in a place now where you're able to have a sit down, articulate yourself, and at least make sure she understands how you feel and then if she chooses to continue to conduct herself that way, I don't even think. Have you guys ever spoken about why it all happened? Like, legitimately had a conversation about how you felt about what she did.
Yeah, years ago, and her response was, "You'll be okay."
This is what I'm saying, Chief. Like, and again, I'm not age shaming, but when people
Or
who are of
set.
our parents' age, like they don't. My point is, it doesn't matter how he
Hmm.
feels. You know what I'm
Nah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like what you just said, Chief, is your go to, right? Which is like, no, I need you to understand where I'm coming from. But what I'm saying
Hmm.
is that demographic,
That don't matter.
good luck. Yeah, I'm
Right.
not
Right.
saying it's not possible. I'm just
Right.
saying good luck. You know,
Right.
like
So
so
I
that's
think
that's why I said it would have to be an inside job on Prentice's part.
right,
Like,
and I think our generation we're left to figure out how much heat we can handle, knowing that. You know what I mean? Like, we that's just how my mama is. That's just how my daddy is. That's just how they are. That's just how my brother is. It's like, how much are you then you have to start asking yourself, how much you willing to tolerate, from this? How much
yeah,
are you willing
yeah.
to handle? And
Yep.
then you have to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest with yourself and say, okay, at a certain point, this just doesn't work for me anymore. You know what I mean? And you got to put maybe the mom category in the same category you put an ex-girlfriend category, which is, this isn't healthy for me, so I gotta detach. You know what I mean? But I think our parents' generation is very, very much so set in their ways, and I can accept that and respect that. It doesn't mean I have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
That's fair.
That's fair. And it sounds like you've done an abundance of processing. I think what we try to do here is just offer more perspective and see if
Absolutely.
it helps. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
Yeah, it's just a
not knocking you for you.
finalization of it all. You know what I mean? Like that message when I sent that to her, like, don't reach out to me anymore. That was really final, and I knew it. And it's just me having to now deal with the aftermath of the feelings with coming with knowing that I did something so final that I had been avoiding doing, that I knew eventually I would probably have to do.
I don't know if it's final though,
Yeah, I
because it's
don't
fine.
know if you.
Because it's like you can't stop her from reaching out to you.
I
You
blocked
know
her.
what I'm saying? Doesn't mean she can't get to you. You know what I
She
mean?
won't. Yeah, but I know her.
And
She won't.
she may not. She may
Yeah.
not. So, but I think, let's just say in the off chance she's able to get to you, like some median, right? She gets to you.
Right.
I still think, and I don't know. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I still think if she gets to you with a message similar to this that you just received, it would put you back in this place.
Yeah, and that's the problem because I do get messages, and they're the same type of messages. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I do, I get it third party. I get it from one of my kids' moms saying she reached out and said some cynical stuff. It's like I can't, I can't get away from it. Like I can't.
So this is my point, P. Like you won't be able to. Well, I didn't know all of that, but now that I know that, you won't be able to get away from it. That's why I was saying that reconciliation. And when I say reconciliation, doesn't mean good terms. Reconciling within yourself. Like
Yes, that's what I got to do.
until you can, whatever words you want to use, absolve her of whatever, right? However that works out, it will still continue to hit
Yeah,
how it
and
hits. You know what I'm
and
saying?
I'm
Because
trying to figure
you
out
care.
how not.
You
Yeah,
care.
yeah. Of course I do. I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure out what that looks like because I want to start. I want to start. I want to
That's
start. I
true.
don't care
Mhm.
how torturous it is. I don't care how many times I got to cry over it. I want to start. I just don't know what
You
the fuck that looks like.
you want me to tell you how?
How?
Go to therapy.
Oh, nigga, yeah. This is the closest I've ever been to really
Yeah, I don't want
sharing
to hear
on
this,
the.
Prentice. Like, you have the same one line. This is the closest. Like, shut up, shut up, shut up. You have
Shut
Nah,
enough.
up.
this is it, man. I just might within the next 5 years.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
All right, then, I'm tired of talking about this shit. What's up with y'all, man? What's
I
happening?
mean, but that's what I mean. All right, that's fair, but I think that to piggyback on Bell's point, that's probably more of a reason why you need to go to that because it's a lot of shit that needs to be unpacked. That we kind of get a piece of it off, and then it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm a let's change the subject real quick.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I agree.
saying?
Because
So
it's
just
still
something,
there.
just something to consider. Um, I think I got a little heavy. So Bell, go ahead. Why don't you go next? Check in, B. How you doing?
Yeah, mine isn't heavy at all, so I'll go. I'm good, man. Like work is like a weird busy. It's like busy, but like not urgent. That's what it is. It's busy but not urgent. You know what I'm saying? So it's like stuff is going on, which is good and it's busy, but none of that's gonna happen anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like planting a lot of seeds right now is another way to say it. Um, I'm good. I totally forgot about Mother's Day. It's been that long. So yeah, Mother's Day was cool since you brought it up, Prentice. Took the wife and our parents out to dinner, which was dope. We haven't done that in a while with them, so we celebrated that on Saturday. Um, I took the kids to the investment property to let them walk around, and Bree's she just turned. Yeah, a lot of shit happened. Bree turned 28 since we last recorded, if I'm not mistaken, maybe. Um, so I took her because she's getting ready to buy her first piece of property pretty soon, and I just wanted her to kind of get an understanding of like what it looks like before the world accepts it, right? Or the buyer accepts it. Like
Hmm.
it's like you would walk past this and you'd be like, "Oh my god, I'll never live there. I'll never buy this," But I wanted her to see. She's like, "Why does it smell like that?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is what happens, right? When you buy a house that needs work, like this is what you get." And the devil's in the detail. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't people don't want to do what I'm willing to do or what investors are willing to do. So that's why they buy it when it's finished. But the money is in here, right? And I'm just trying to help her understand that. And it was good for Chase to see it, you know what I'm saying? Because that's me and his house, if you let him tell it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, yeah, sister, me and daddy got a house in Connecticut. So I explained to him like, well, if it's your house, then it's her house too. So, so that was a cool moment. We spent the day together and just helping them understand and see some different things and yeah, man, bought my watch today, so that was cool. I got that. um
That what you've been talking about?
yep, I pulled the
Oh,
trigger
for
today.
real?
Yeah, I picked it up
That's
today.
what's up, man. Good for
Yeah, I was
you,
in
man.
Connecticut today for a little bit, so I went and grabbed that. Shout out to my jeweler, always taking care of me. um
That's what's up.
uh
Same joint you got the ring from
yep, yep, my girl Bonnie. Yep,
down by the beach.
yep,
That's
yep,
what's up, man.
yep. There was something else I want to say. The renovations in the property coming along. Yo, I got a newfound respect for tree cutters, man. Like, I don't know if I talked about this on here, but the guy that's cutting my trees, man, I was so impressed with this dude. I first met him a couple weeks ago, so yeah, I didn't talk about it. And um, I'm like, yeah, man, how long? Because he's a climber. And what climber means is they climb up them damn trees and cut them, like no bucket. They just climb up, cut them piece by piece, and come down. And I'm like, damn. And I'm like, how long you been climbing? I was like, how long you been in this business? He's like, about 4 years now. Um, I'm like, that's what's up. I'm like, um, he's like, and I'm 19. I'm like, you're 19? He's like, yeah. Dude has his own business. You know what I'm saying? 19 and fully insured, like legit equipment. I bought my cousin came by today to do some like actual landscape and stuff for me, and we were just talking about the machines. He was like, "Yeah, yo, that's a $30,000 machine this kid got," and I'm like, and he didn't. We talked to him. He didn't end up paying that much, but I was so impressed by this young kid, like his business acumen, But I learned that his father had the same business, so he came up in his father's business. You know what I mean? And I was talking to my cousin today. I'm like, yeah, I was like, man, I'm like, I didn't have that business acumen at 19 that he has. Because when I was communicating with this kid for weeks, like probably over a month, because the rain, everything kept pushing the job back. I would have never guessed he was 19. Never ever in a million years would I have guessed that. Because I was just so impressed by one, his communication skills, two, his follow up. You know what I'm saying? Like again, like his business acumen was very high. And my cousin made a good point. And I was like, yes, I didn't have this business acumen at 19. He was like, yeah, but we were at the peak of maturity at 19. Like we were more mature than our peers. And he's like, and we made it to the peak of maturity for our environment and our surroundings. You know what I'm saying? Like we were doing very well at 19 based on our circumstances, based on like comparables, right? Like in terms of if we polled people from the same demographic and the same socioeconomic status, right? We were doing really good comparatively. And he made a good point. He was like, well, now I was talking to Lorraine about it, and she made a good point. She's like, yeah, like imagine what Chase's business acumen is going to be like when he's 19 because of you. And I'm like, damn, I didn't think about that. Like he had his dad that brought him up through his own company, and then he took that knowledge and started his own company. Right. So his dad brought him up through his father's company, and now the son has his own company at 19. But that's because he took all that tutelage. So when Lorraine said that, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, and even Bree is sharp. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I was also 15, whereas Chase is getting like the best of me. You know what I mean? So it was dope to see. And it also shows why it's so important to have something you can pass down, whether it's a skill, whether it's a trade. If it's you can't pass degrees, right? But if it's something tangible like a house, a business, like something that they will allow your kids to thrive on their own based on your teachings, like that's what I got from that. You know what I mean? And it was cool. But
Was that
long
like a
story,
light bulb moment for you when she said that?
yes, yep.
Really?
Because yeah, man, because it's like, listen, man, you know what they say, it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I don't look at it like, but this is a whole nother conversation that, I don't want to take too long on my check-in, but there's certain qualities that we possess that, or I'll speak for myself. There's certain qualities that I possess that I understand them to be in everybody. Like I'm like, I'm not going up and beyond to be this way. This is just how I'm wired. But I'm learning that it's not. Like it's not inherent in everybody, these things, right? And what I'm learning is that I don't look at them like that, but so many other people do. Like
Hmm.
these extreme qualities, right? I'll call them. So I'm teaching Chase all these things, and I didn't bring him to the house for me to be like, oh, he's going to look back at this and say this. No, like this is just part of the process, right? Like you need to understand what daddy does. Like my profession, my job, like he may or may not gravitate to that, but this is something tangible. Like when I'm gone, he and Bree will have multiple houses. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Hmm.
you need to start understanding how this stuff works so that when she said that, I'm like, I connected the two. I'm like, oh, that's what I was doing, but I didn't look at it like I was doing that until I had this
Mhm.
conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, but in short, man, I'm blessed, man. No complaints. No complaints.
One thing to be mindful of too, bro, is we just never know what moments the kids will gravitate to, remember, deem as important, or like quality time, or just the that moment that stood out to the kids was probably so insignificant to us, but it's something they will
Mhm.
never forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's
Agreed.
something to be.
Hmm.
I mean, we can't necessarily be cognizant of because we don't know what happened, but like I think it's maybe
No.
worth having the conversation around the, just if we're like, what's I got a questionnaire like parents ask their kids about, to see how much they know you and blah blah blah. But there's a couple questions there that kind of like, what was your favorite time with dad? It's like that. It's kind of like, oh, I didn't think about that. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't even realize that you held on to that so long.
But that's
Hmm.
why it's important that we just continue to be the example because you don't
Right.
know. To your point, you don't know.
You know, one thing I recently started doing, man, because I've been thinking about this lately, especially with Tahir turned 14 on the 6th of May, and Anaya's 12 now. One thing that I started doing, I think it's also important for us as parents, man, is we have to kind of sit back and analyze ourselves and really give ourselves credit for what we do know how to do. That way we start consciously kind of just putting it out there to our children. Because lately I've been doing that with the kids as far as like my entrepreneurship, how I view things, how like, how a hustle doesn't have to be a struggle. You know what I'm saying? Like we went to an event on Saturday where it was just a family event with fathers and their families and stuff. And I took them with me and they were like, Dad, why did you come? And I was like, well, one, you want to support the community, you want to support people, but also when you have influence in certain areas or when you're tapped into certain areas, people will pay you just to be there. Like we're just having a good time chilling, but I'm getting paid right now. Like I'm making money. They're like, you're making money? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, how much? And I actually told them. And they were like, what? And so I was like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so when you work in certain fields and certain arenas, when you have connections and friendships, people will pay you for those connections. People will pay you to help you facilitate their events and make sure they run smoothly. So I had to look back a couple of weeks ago and be like, you know what? I'm actually really good at this. I'm actually really good at that. And again, there are those things like you were saying, Bill, that you don't necessarily realize or know that you're doing. They're just these innate qualities that you just happen to have as an individual. But I think that's important, man. You do got to highlight to our kids, how to get things done, and we got to be aware of our own ability in order to be able to teach them that shit. Because sometimes we overlook it because it's second nature for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Bells, I can't remember the exact words you said a moment ago, Bell, but you talked about how like people from the outside may look at it as like a big thing, and you don't really see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And P, the same thing. Your kids don't really see it that way. But to the both of you brothers, myself included, I'll share a story in a minute. But like, we already know there's always somebody watching. There's always somebody looking. You know what I'm saying? And there's the impact that we all have on people that we have no clue about can be and is often so much greater than we even realize. So just, you know what I mean? Salute to you brothers for doing what you do and just, moving on the straight and narrow and impacting and empowering lives that we have no clue who or how it's happening.
Yeah, man.
Because it is. I had I'm sorry, Bell, were you done?
I'm done. I'm good.
So all is well. Kids are happy and healthy. But I had a gig. I'll get to them in a minute. But I had a gig the other day in Boston. But when I was talking to you, when I was driving to
Brockton.
Brockton. So I get there, and small room, small crowd, whatever. Big room, small crowd, whatever. But it was still grooving, and they had like a little open mic prior to the set, and the girl got on stage. It's like, oh my God, I'm so actually, Pete. She mentioned you. It was a girl who was in the room when we did the gig in Mass moons ago in the gym.
At the college?
I don't know if it was at a college.
Yeah.
It was in the gym.
Yep. That was at a college.
So he was in the gym and she's like, I saw you years ago. You and Prentice came down in the gym. But she was like, hi, Mr. Chief. I'm such a fan. And I was just like, this is a grown woman. It's like, hi, Mr. Chief. I'm such a fan. It's just like, I don't know. It just hit me like, damn, like it was just weird because she was like Mr. Chief and like my daughter's there. And she looked at me like, I'm like, I told you your daddy's somebody, but joking around. But like, it just felt good because like you just never know how you impact people. You know what I'm saying? And she was like super happy to like see your brother. So like that was it felt kind of cool. And she called me Mr. Chief, and it was just really like she was like super giddy about it. And it was just kind of a cool feeling. But I wanted to start this off. Let me jump into my kids real quick. Kids are good. Boys, Major's got a promotion ceremony coming up soon. About to get a promotion.
Is he going to high school?
6th grade.
6th grade. I'm like, wait,
6th grade. Yeah, Bubba's going to high school. So Mia's going to high school. She got hers coming too. But they're all good. Mia just got a Connecticut Scholar Athlete of the Year award. Big banquet at the AquaTurf. You know what I'm saying? It was really, really cool. She sent me a video of her walking in heels. It kind of tripped me out a little bit. Like it really, really like everybody's heart skipped a beat. Like, yo, it's just that was the second time in my life where I had that my baby's not a baby anymore. You know what I'm saying? She was like 5 when it first happened. Huh?
So life comes at you fast.
Oh yeah, for sure. Can you remember like distinct moments where you were like, damn, like I got a big girl now. Like I got 2 right now that are like specifically where I had that like, wow, like she's not my baby anymore.
I don't know. Like it's so different. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure I do. Like I'm sure because Brianna be reminding me of stuff all the time. Like, and I just be forgetting. So like I said in the text, nothing comes to mind that I'm like. But you're also more emotional than me. You know what I'm saying? So I may have seen it as that in the moment, but it didn't like maybe
Right.
like impact me as much. I don't know.
So it was a little video and her walking in the hills, like, damn, my baby's not a baby no. But then we was walking in the house. She was like maybe like 5, and I asked her something, and her response was like, I think I told you before, like, it was this real big girl, like very clear sentence, and I was like, like, what happened to my baby? You know what I'm saying? So that's the first time it happened. But outside of that, I love you boys, man, and I think it's important that y'all know that. And we say it often. We don't have to speak every day, or record every week to know that the love is there, and I appreciate you fellas. But I wanted to make sure I said that because I've experienced a lot of death recently, man. Not in my own personal world, but like just around me. Like there's 5 of us on the slam team, and three of them had people pass away in the last week. My man Steve at work today. My man Steve is a good brother, man. Like just a really solid cat. Got a phone call this morning. Got a phone call at work this morning. He gets to work at 7. Got a phone call. Son got murdered last night. Found him.
Oh my God!
Found him in a car. Found him in a car in Manchester, like on somebody's lawn. Car on. Got shot, and I guess the people woke up, saw the car on the lawn, called the police. To get a phone. The newspaper. The news had it. Man found unresponsive in a car. I talked to Steve today, and he's like, "Yeah, he got shot. Dude just drove off." Like
he's on your slam team.
No, Steve is dude I work with at the psych hospital.
Oh.
Just a real solid brother, man. P, you met him. Remember the dude that came with me to the Legends joint in New York? That we drove home with.
In Queens.
Yes, him.
Oh,
his son. His middle son. Yep.
Damn, man.
Yeah. So and that shit killed me. Yo. I mean, like I heard this morning, and it really like that shit like took the wind out of me, bro. Because like Steve's just a good dude. We talk every time I go to work. We always talk about family and kids, and this shit was just heavy, bro. Heavy. And I talked to him today, and he's pushing through. And this is the second kid he lost.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Him and not that it's any different, but he and his wife, I think it was very, very early and like baby. But still, he and his ex-wife had to, had to deal with had to deal with that. So this is the second kid he lost. And I had totally forgot about that until he mentioned it today. So I guess he's familiar with this grief, unfortunately. Right.
Shout out to him, man.
Yeah.
Prayers and all that good stuff to him and his family. But on another note, did y'all hear about the Mexican Navy ship in New York, in Brooklyn, or in New York?
Oh, yeah.
Hit that bridge, man.
I'm on the pier that day on a little date. I'm literally on the pier. We go up and the dudes are on the sail ship waving, and everybody. I'm talking about a crowd of people there just waving. And I'm standing and I'm like, yo, that don't look too tall for the bridge, but the bridge is a good distance away. So I'm not thinking oh, they got it, they got it mapped out or whatever. But I said it to Shorty, like, damn, I was on the pier, bro. I was standing on the pier. We watched the sail ship go away and they waving and whatever. And I'm like, I saw them like that looked kind of tall for the bridge, but the bridge was, far away. So I'm like, maybe it's just, a perception type thing. And then they get there and you see the thing collapse, and I'm like, well, maybe that's a like in my mind, because I'm always trying to err on the realm of positivity. I'm like, maybe that's a part of the joint. The sail just bends and they go under the bridge and they pop back up. And she's like, no, it hit the bridge, and I'm like, yeah, but it was a good distance away for we couldn't really see it. And then we look back again, and you can see like one of the people like just falling.
Nigga, you saw that shit?
I'm standing there, P.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
when I first saw the video, I didn't realize that there were people on the mast.
So
I had no idea.
Have a video. If for those watching the actual YouTube video, I'm gonna play the video right now so you can see this. It's 50 seconds long, but you can see kind of what it was, and then we can go from there. So if you're sensitive to it,
I don't think we want to play that.
Then I won't do it. But I mean, it's again. To be there and to see, and Shorty like lost it, bro. Like she turned around, like and started crying, and I'm just like, I was still trying to be like, well, maybe, because they had the little hoisters on wrapped around their waist, their legs and whatnot. So I'm thinking they okay. I'm like, yo, they are. I'm in my head. I'm like, they're all right. Like it happened, but they're good. Like I'm just trying to stay positive. So, did you see that? And then we had this conversation. So obviously, like the middle of the date, it's like after that, it's like energy is just different. And I'm trying to shift the energy and redo it. And then we had a conversation later, and she's like, it seemed like you were what's the word she used? Desensitized. And I'm like, that's not necessarily what it was. I just really was praying for the best. Like I really was praying for the best. And then I began the process, and I'm like, yo, given my circumstances, bro, I really do think that I've become slightly desensitized to death in a sense. And I say that because of going into that depression, I vowed to never let anything impact me to the way it brought for it to bring me back there. So when I saw that, in the moment, I'm thinking, okay, you got to be strong for shorty because it obviously impacted her. I'm still feeling the way, but I'm trying to, poke my chest out and be like, you know what, I've been down this road, so this can't really get to me like that. And I didn't realize how I was showing up.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? And she's like, it looks like you were like desensitized to it. And I'm like, I don't like lack empathy. That's not the case. It's just after going through this experience, I just look at it differently now. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't know though, because you just showed immense compassion, and you even said it rocked you when you said your boy Steve lost his son.
Right. But
you know what I'm saying?
So that's a little bit more personal though, Bell. Like I wasn't really attacked.
But you said death. You know what I'm saying? That's
right,
that's the only point of clarity. I would say, like, I mean, they were strangers, so I can understand why you wouldn't feel the same as your really good friend's son being murdered, obviously. Like I can see that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you're desensitized to death though. Because this is just my opinion, bro. Death is one of those things that, in my opinion, it doesn't get better the more you experience it. Like it's like, been there, done that. It's not one of those things. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like the more you experience it, the more apathetic you become to it. I don't believe that to be true for me, at least. So I don't want you to put that label on yourself prematurely.
Yeah.
Is all I'm saying.
And I don't know. Well, I'm thinking, first of all, nobody is wrong in that scenario, obviously. But I could understand how she could perceive it that way without knowing your history. You get what I'm saying? Like without knowing your history and you knowing how you kind of try to approach those situations, I don't think you're wrong for that at all either. You know what I'm saying? Like she would have to know a little bit more, I think, in order not to get the impression that you were just desensitized rather than due to your trauma. This is how you respond in these type of circumstances. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It could have been like a cool teachable moment, like if it would have went there.
It didn't in the moment. My thought process was, let's try to shift this energy. Let's go get us some food and try to like really like shift the energy because I know it's a heavy moment right now.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I realized I didn't like until we was on a ride back to the crib. Like, yo, like I didn't be like, are you okay? Like it was like I hugged her, I pulled her in, made sure like she had that physical protection, but it wasn't a conversation that I wanted to have in the moment just because it's heavy, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had to sit back and like process it and whatnot. But it was just something that in combination with my teammates and then my man Steve, like it's been a lot of like death around me lately. And it's like, all that, check on your strong friends, give your people their flowers and blah, 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 blah. I wanted to make sure that, I put that in the air with you all. So I don't want to really get into the conversation about death, but I thought it was important to say that because it was a good way for me to check myself and hear a different perspective about it.
Yeah, that's some Final Destination shit, man.
It was
for real.
It was
like hard to believe. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, just that trifecta right there is I don't like that shit. I don't like that shit.
So I don't like that shit. Yeah, so it's been weighing on me. But you mentioned P earlier, and Bell, you were talking about forgiveness and or just being able to forgive one. So I wrote it down. I was in my new project. I wrote a poem called Forgiveness, and it's not really. It's just a letter to all of the the women whom I've hurt in the past, to my sister, who, remember I told y'all, like, we had a brief conversation about how she felt about me writing poems about our father.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was basically vilifying her hero.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I wrote that, and then I wrote a letter to him. Small. They're all small blurbs, but like just a forgiveness letter to him, in terms of just acknowledging that, not knowing what he went through, what his childhood was like, why, how that may have impacted his decisions and so on and so forth. But it was and even though it's a small little blurb, it was enough for me to just kind of, once I put it out, I think it'll add to just enough for me to kind of like really start opening up that door of forgiveness and just allowing myself to like really be healed. You think what I'm saying?
That's
I do.
first of all, salute to you. That's dope. That's real
So
dope.
it was and again, it took me, because I literally went back and sifted through a lot of my poetry, and there's a nugget of disdain for him or hurt from him in a lot of my stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to make it a point to, and I started off by saying, like, I don't, I said what I said. I don't take back anything that I said, but I'm growing, basically. Like, you think what I'm saying? So that was a big piece of it. But shit, we damn near through a whole episode with just some check-ins. But I think it's important for the people, for those of you listening and supporting us, man. Like, these conversations are important. Like, I implore you to check in with your people. Literally call your people and check in. Did y'all see the dude? I'm shifting the energy real quick. Did y'all see the little thing online now? It's like remember how they had the cats from Wild Now had a thing where like they call you P. Hey P, what's up? Oh, let me call you back. Like,
Call a nigga to say goodnight.
yeah.
I
You
saw
see?
that. Yeah. I saw that.
I'm
I think you
like,
sent
yo.
it to us, Steve. Or yeah, I
So
saw
that was a good laugh, man. I watched a couple of those joints where you're calling your homies and saying goodnight. Money was like, sleep tight. Like what is you
That
talking
nigga,
about?
what? Yeah, what you on right now, man? What?
Yeah, like, what are you doing? So I literally played the conversation in my head about calling you two cats and how you would respond. I'm like, these things would be like, yo, are you serious, bro? We would definitely got a good laugh with them. So that gave me a good laugh, man. But I found myself in the middle of these emotions, so I started to like sift for shit online to give me a good giggle. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up stumbling across that, and it gave me a good laugh. And there's also this dude, I think it's called Floss the Mac or something. He does these skits about like working on a psych ward. This shit is so relatable.
You sent those to us too in the group
Yeah,
chat.
that shit was so relatable. It was a damn sure, a damn good laugh, man. But laughter, I believe, is the remedy for a lot of, not another remedy, but a quick fix for a lot of our ailments. Sometimes get a good laugh in, and it can really like shift your mood or energy. So I, encourage y'all to find some, get around your funny people or whatever, and get some good laughs in when you're going through some shit. Did y'all want to we might as well jump into it real quick, give it a couple of minutes. We last left off with the episode talking about being in survival mode, and we got a text message, y'all. Shout out to everybody pulling up in Money left a super long joint, and I don't know if I want to read the whole thing, but he talked about how survival mode for him was literally like life or death. And we kind of made it more so like making ends meet, or just kind of day-to-day type things, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Or stretching, making or stretching out things, whatever. He was like, he said he's always been on edge, anticipating the next emotional blow or dangerous situation. There's never truly feeling safe, even environments that have felt peaceful, like, you know what I'm saying? And that's like survival mode for him. Like, that's pretty, because overload, this is feeling either too much or being overwhelmed by emotions. Fawn responses, he said, often having to respond to trauma with intense emotion. So I think in hearing this, running on empty, lack of trust, carrying the weight of being alone, guilt or resting and needing help. And I'm like, that's it was just interesting to hear different people's perspective. He said, for me, survival mode is a protective state, being where your mind and body can operate on instinct just to get through the day without space to feel, heal, or be vulnerable.
I would argue survival mode is a protective state for a lot of people. Now, what that looks like is
Hmm.
all relative.
Varies.
You know what I'm saying? Like it varies. So he's not wrong, but neither are we. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
as we define it for us, like I think, and we I've talked about this a bunch on this platform where it's like we always talk about we emphasize well, one, we emphasize that we're not therapists. Two, we emphasize that sometimes this conversation isn't enough.
And
Like
that's exactly
sometimes you need to go
good.
deeper. You know what I'm saying? With a professional, like whatever that means. Um,
And that's exactly what he said. He said, "Love the episode. I just felt left wanting more in depth, but I know you guys have limited time. Keep up the good work," is what he said.
yeah, it's like again, this is and again, I'm speaking solely for myself, like firsthand experience. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
what what my life was like or is like when I'm surviving and what it is like when I'm thriving, if and or I've ever experienced it. You know what I'm saying? And it's very it's not like, oh, I am like I said this in the last episode, it's not like I am thriving in life. Like I'm thriving in pieces of my life and surviving in other pieces of my life. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately you want to be thriving everywhere, but I don't know that that balance is like I'm not shooting for that balance. I'm shooting for like take care of things one at a time. You know what I'm saying? Or as I see fit.
He worded this. I want to see if this resonates with you guys. He said, "Survival mode for me has been a lifeline, but not a life. It's the version of you that had to show up when no one else did."
Yeah, I think that's the version of you that has to show up when no one else did. I agree with that. For me at least.
Yeah,
He-
I understand. I mean, I
okay.
understand exactly what he's saying. But
Okay.
yeah, again, I think it varies because survival mode for me at one point in time had to do with self harm. You know what I mean? And then I got healthy, and I no longer looked at myself in a way of it being a life or death situation. You know what I mean? So I think it also depends on like where you're at in life because survival
Yeah.
mode can look different in different stages. So unfortunately for him, it was that serious. It was a matter of his existence. Hopefully it grows to be a point where if he has to experience it again, you know, it elevates to maybe hopefully like some type of maintenance. You know what I mean? Having to downgrade or readjust rather than, it being about your life.
Yeah. So there were 6 questions that we had to talk about survival mode. The last time I believe only got through 3. We answered the question where it says, "What does rest look like when I'm not feeling guilty about it?" We answered that,
We'll answer
right?
that.
Did we get to the next question was, "When I feel safe and unhurried, what kind of person do I naturally become?"
Mhm.
You giggled, P. What that? Something hit you?
Yeah, I think I'm a goofy child, man. I'm a goofy child. When I feel safe and unrushed, man, I say shit I think is funny that nobody else thinks is funny. I'm playful. You know what I mean? Like I'm real. I think I'm childish. I think I'm childish in a great way, in a good way. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just
Right.
happy. But I feel like I'm goofy and silly when I'm safe and unrushed. I'm just enjoying moments or like that the present.
And you find that space, I assume, with your wife.
Oh yeah, home. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about how I'd be upstairs in the living room. Yeah, I mean, I'd be having a great time in this bitch, man. I'd be having a great time at home. So yeah, that's exactly what I thought of being at home.
That's what's up.
How
Bad.
about
When you
how about
feel
you, Chief?
safe and
I
unhurried.
want to hear from you first.
When I feel safe and unhurried, what kind of person do I naturally become? I think there's levels to it. Like, I really enjoy like the crib. So
We know.
safe and unhurried, huh? He
I
said,
said
"What
we
we
know.
know." Yeah. So safe and unhurried, similar to P. Like I enjoy a good laugh and a good some silliness, but I just think safe and unhurried gives me permission to be comfortable, relaxed, lazy, if you will. And I think there's not like I think of moments where like I remember distinctly being in certain situations and I like pulling my person super close to me. And it like in my head, I'm like, oh wow, like this, like you're in that zone right now.
Nigga,
It,
you
it was, but
comfortable.
it was a different feeling though. Like it's not like regular cuddles and whatnot. This was kind of like it
A
was just
moment.
weird. It was this extreme. Like I remember feeling safe.
Oh, that's what I was gonna. I didn't know pulling close if that meant you felt safe or you meant you didn't feel safe. That's why I
No, no,
was.
I remember feeling like safe
Mm.
and just like super relaxed. Like yeah, this is it right here.
I think for me, the reason why I asked you to go first because I was thinking about it, and I'm like, it was easier for me to think about for me like when I don't feel safe than when I do feel safe. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know, and I would love to hear you guys' feedback, but I want to believe I'm not walking around feeling unsafe. Like I want to believe that. Like I don't believe that, and I'm not saying that was what you were saying. I'm saying for me personally, I want to believe that I'm not walking around feeling unsafe. So I immediately went to psychological safety, and I think I'm much better at it now. But I think the only times that I feel like I don't feel safe, and I'll answer the question. But the only times I don't feel safe is when I'm in a room full of strangers, like i.e. a networking event. You know what I'm saying? Like perfect example. My boss hit me up today. Was like, "Yo, I think you and my other partner should go to this conference." He's like, "Let me know if you guys can make it." And my first thought was my partner's like super outgoing. Like she's just she doesn't care if she knows a soul. She's going to make friends. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So my first thought was like, "Oh, word." Like if I'm gonna go to something like that, I want to go with her. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Whereas because I'm gonna get the most out of it because she's going to um broach like relationships or conversations that I may not have, like off instinct. You know, I would have got there, but she's gonna essentially like grease the skids. Like, okay, boom, we're in here, bells. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first thing I thought about. Thought about how I don't feel safe. But I don't know, man. I don't. And again, please tell me if you guys see different. But I don't believe that I operate in a space where I'm not my true self all the time. You know, like I feel like I'm my true self. Like now, I do understand that there's times where I feel more vulnerable, but that's not because I don't feel safe. It's just because I don't feel like you've earned the right to know certain things yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I guess you could argue, well, if you felt safe, would you say it? Like, no, like I get this all the time for people I care about. It's like, yo, we keep learning so much more about you. And I'm like, yeah, because if the question and or environment calls for it, you'll learn about that piece. I'm not just going to divulge all this stuff for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like it has to be of context or in context for me to give it to you if it makes sense. So that's what I would say, man. I feel like I am who I am in all environments with the exception of a room full of strangers. Then I don't feel safe.
There's a
That's
difference between safety and comfort. You know what I'm saying? Like I think there's a difference. That's what I heard
Yeah.
from you. Like, you can feel safe and you're still not going to maybe share, but when you're comfortable enough to share a certain part of you, then you will.
I think that's one of them things where you can see it from both ends. Because I would say I'm more comfortable in spaces than I am safe. And safety is what'll get me to speak and what'll get me to expose the certain vulnerabilities. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like I
So
think even like on here, we're often very comfortable, but when we get off of here, we're safe with each other. You know what I'm saying? Because remember,
mhm.
we've been so many times on here where we've been comfortable enough to have a conversation, but we play the fence, and then when we
yeah,
hit
no,
the
but I still feel safe here. Like I don't feel unsafe here. Like I feel safe. So this is I'm kind of pivoting and kind of not. So this is interesting. I want to ask you guys because this is what you do. Um, so Lorraine, she had a gig at my company. They had her come in and speak to our women in technology ERG, and during that 90-minute presentation, she was getting responses from the audience and whatnot, and afterwards, like one of my partners at work came up to Lorraine and was like, "Oh my god, I was so hoping you didn't call on me." She's like, "I did not want to speak. Public speaking is not my like." It was going on and on, right? And she's like, "And I don't understand it because I was a theater kid." Oh no, no, no. And I did theater. And then Lorraine was like, she has a client like that. And my question to you all, because what my partner said is, yeah, but that's not me.
Mm,
She's like, theater's not me.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? She's like, I can be so expressive because that's not me. Like that's the character I'm playing or the persona I'm taking on. So I guess my question is like what you said, Chief, made me think about that when you're talking about being vulnerable in rooms because you are. But my question is that Chief the poet or is that Michael Peterson? Like, do you guys take on a character? In
I
this case,
think
it's yourself, but
but I think in the nature of how I write, they're one and the same because I write from vulnerable experiences. Like very rarely is it like the ring light in front of me that's inspired a poem. Like it's always something I've experienced and am comfortable delivering. But even with that, Bell, like that's a certain level of comfort that I have genuinely in hopes to one help myself heal, but two impact someone in the room. Because I've found that more often than not, when I'm telling a story that most black men aren't telling, it resonates with somebody in the room, and I've just changed their life.
Hmm.
And that's kind of propelled why I do a lot of what I do. Again, it starts with me because I wrote it to help me, and then to have the
it can
privilege
help
of being
somebody.
able to use it to inspire someone else. You know what I'm saying? But when you were talking about networking, I'm not even gonna lie, I immediately saw the three of us in Aspen at the hotel, the little meet and greet right there. And we were all, mixing, mingling and channeling the room, but I can't remember how it happened. Like
You
who
talking about at the actual event or back at the hotel?
no, the little
Rooftop event.
the first night, the rooftop event with like we was meet and greet and shaking hands and whatnot, but I'm like, how did it happen? Because I know for a fact that I can be pulled into a conversation.
You were definitely going up to people. I remember that.
I was.
hmm
I don't remember that.
So so part of the exercise that Lorraine did with the company, obviously I engaged, was what are three characteristics about yourself, right? That you would write down like strong. I forgot what it was. Strong attributes, whatever it was. Three strong attributes about yourself, something like that. And then what do people see in you?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I wrote down three things. And then my partner, like my direct partner that I work with, she wrote down some things about me that I wouldn't have put for myself, but it's what
Mhm.
she sees in me. You know what I'm saying? So in that, what we talked about was like, I never consider myself a very inquisitive person. I never consider that. But what most people will say about me is I ask a lot of questions, you know, which builds community, because if I'm asking questions, it's from a place of interest. So I'm interested in your life. So I'm getting more curious. So it brings people closer to me. So where if I'm in a networking room, I'm not going to make deep or in my opinion, what I deem as meaningful connections popping to this person. Oh, I'm Chris Bellamy, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get a few people and have a meaningful connection um by way of curiosity. You know what I'm saying? So you do that. Oh, so yeah. So why do you do that? What made you get into that? Oh, nice, nice. And how long you been doing it? Right. I'm gonna go there with it. You know what I'm saying? And oh, so you said you're from there. Do you know that? Like I'm gonna go there, and that's where my connections are built. So I say that because we all have those things that, like, I think you guys in that same event that you're talking about, both of you guys, just because of probably the nature of what you do, we're just like super like, hey, how you doing? What's your name? And I'm being silly right now, but that was more of your vibe than my vibe.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Where I was picking my spots.
Yep.
You know what I
We
mean?
talked about
So
that while we were there. Remember,
Yeah.
we talked about that on the episode we recorded in the hotel room about how Bill is a lot more calculated. He's listening, observing, and paying attention, and chooses where to input himself versus us just kind of. I remember talking about that.
was
Yeah.
that is that so is safe an accurate word
For what?
for like because it says when you feel safe and unhurried, what kind of person do you naturally become? And not that I'm just so when I mentioned that I said I would become more relaxed and comfortable and silly. And I don't know if
I think
is it
that's
safe or is it comfort? Because
no. I think there can be two different responses. For me, safe, I am goofy, I'm silly, and I'm childish. Comfortable, I'm vulnerable. When I'm comfortable somewhere, I'm very vulnerable. I'm comfortable on stage, so I bleed on stage because that's the
Mm.
most comfortable place I have. I will cut myself wide open emotionally on stage in front of thousands of people I do not know because that's the most comfortable space I can think of.
So
So,
you know what's interesting in both those statements, Chief talking about helping somebody. In both instances, you guys are rewarded for your vulnerability. In both instances, you're rewarded. Whereas somebody like myself, who's not a performer, I could view it as I have the most to lose by being vulnerable. You see what I'm saying? Like there's no instant gratification I'll get by being vulnerable.
hmm.
It's
Well, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, bro.
no, it's just like if I'm being vulnerable, it's an effort to build a community and I feel safe.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas you and I'm not speaking for you, but what I'm hearing is you're going to get rewarded. In fact, you may even get more rewarded the deeper you go with your vulnerability based on your profession.
but
Yeah,
even
but
if the reward is not from someone else, the reward is the release for us.
it's for me. It's like I'd rather jump off the bridge in front of the world than just one person see me do
That's crazy. You need to go see somebody first of all because that
it.
it's way deeper than what you, and I'm not even trying to be funny. Like that shit is deep what you just said. Like very deep. But this is my point though. Like for instance, Chief, you write in your everything you perform, you write first and you learn it and you memorize it, whatever, right?
Mhm,
That's a release.
mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Like you released it onto that page. So it's deeper than the release because you got the release because you put your thoughts, your feelings into words, and now you're on stage, and now you get paid for it, not monetarily, right? The the gratitude that you receive. So you're receiving something back. Whereas when you're vulnerable, at your most vulnerable place is on that page, and if nobody saw it, that's still your most vulnerable place. But now that you're, because it's the first time you're releasing it, and this is just how I'm thinking about it. Please tell me, Bell, you know what the fuck you're talking about. But what I'm saying is, as a performer, and you both said this multiple times on here, you are being rewarded for your vulnerability by way of, oh, I can relate, by way of, oh my God, that's so great, you just got me through the situation, by way of, oh my God, you're so amazing, I can't believe you went up there and did that. But you're going to receive something almost instantly for your vulnerability.
Very
I
true.
don't.
However, there have been several times, P, I'm certain it happened to you too, but there's several times where we've got some shit off our chest, walked off stage and left the venue and didn't hear from anybody or speak to anybody, but know that it was a release for us and it felt good to get out.
And I
I don't
think
doubt
those
that either.
things. I think those things have to matter. I think the oh, that was great. The oh, I can relate. Not everybody cares about that. You know what I mean? Like for some, for me, it's the selfishness. I'm a selfish artist. I just want to say what I have to say in front of as many people as possible. I want to
Yeah,
be
you want
heard.
an audience. That, yeah,
Right. But not
exactly.
for my thing is not for the gratification I receive from them, but the comfort it gives me internally to just vomit on the world, to get it out publicly. Like I don't know, it's something. I got this. I have a line. I have a sick, twisted fascination with these self-inflicted literary lacerations. It's a line in one of my new poems I have, and I just I enjoy being vulnerable publicly. It does something for me, and it's not necessarily
And that
what.
you don't have to even say anything else. You just prove my point. It does something for you. That's
Mhm.
a reward. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm
Okay,
saying. Yeah,
yeah. There's
like
definitely a reward. Yeah,
that's
absolutely,
all I'm saying.
absolutely.
Like your
Well,
vulnerability gives you something in return.
right. Whether it's the motivation for the public or whether it's something that's generated internally, I definitely get something out of it.
You
Yeah.
you can you can do it and feel good about it afterwards.
Yep. Yeah.
Whereas people who aren't performers, like I had stopped telling, because there was a whole thing in my company, like you got to get vulnerable, you got to get vulnerable. I stopped telling people to get vulnerable because though we know the definition of vulnerability, how people define it in their to themselves is different. So
Hmm.
some people view vulnerability as like running through the street naked,
Mhm.
and they just can't see themselves ever doing that. So I would tell people, be your true authentic self. You see what I'm saying? And that's what you guys are doing. But you're being rewarded for being your true authentic self. When a lot of times in relationships and conversations and whatever, you don't know how that's going to be received. I'll speak for myself. I don't know how that's going to be received. I just know I'm now exposed. But you are exposing yourself for
Uh,
reward. No matter what the reward is, you are exposing yourself for reward.
yeah. With you, there is no automatic self gratification that you can
No,
guarantee you're going to receive.
no.
Yeah.
There's the likelihood of this hurting me versus helping me is
Mm-hmm.
higher
Mm-hmm.
because now I'm exposing myself. Now this is something that somebody has on me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm selective with who I'm vulnerable to, because I need to know what I need to be comfortable with what you're doing with that information. What you don't care because the reward
Right.
is the information.
Yep. It's for me. It's whether it hurts or it helped me. I did that shit, and I did that shit is enough.
Yes.
Exactly.
But I would be rewarded, Bell, if I go up there and I say something you've been trying to say for the past 10 years
Hmm.
and I leave and you go home and like, damn, I felt that. And I don't know anything about it.
But that's so this is what I'm
It's the
saying. I don't know.
reward.
I don't
Yep.
know. I don't know if
I
you're
get it.
trying, you're going along with what I'm saying, or if you're
Yeah,
trying
no,
to.
I'm saying like I understand your point completely is what I'm saying, but
Yep.
I like the gratification comes in being able to impact or being like what's the cliche being a voice for the voiceless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the
but that's the
gratification comes in that.
you're saying.
Gratification is the key word.
Yeah, you're saying that this can happen. I may not even be no, I may not know about it, but the knowing that is gratification. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Knowing that
Mm-hmm.
something you say somebody can go home and do something with. Like, and
The
what I'm
possibility
saying,
of it.
yeah, that's the reward.
Yep.
That is the reward. You know what I'm saying?
So
Because you
I want to ask you, did you get a sense, did you feel a sense of that after the several
San Diego.
performances we've done?
sense of what?
A sense of like, were you worried about
Gratification.
gratification? Were you not worried about? Were you worried about people's perspective, what they're going to do with the information you just shared, or was that not considered vulnerable enough for you?
I
Wait,
hear
who
that.
you asking? Me or Prentice? I'm not sure.
You,
You.
Val.
I never performed. What are you talking about?
We've done
Nah.
several shows.
Oh! I didn't know what the
Aspen.
hell you were talking. I didn't know what the hell you were talking about just now.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I'm sorry. Can you ask the question again? Because I was so confused.
I'm asking you, were you those events we did together? Did you not consider it a place of vulnerability? And if not, then it makes sense. But if so, did you leave with the sense of gratification, knowing that your story may have impacted the lives of those children in that room?
So the information I share publicly is no longer from a vulnerable space.
Mm.
That's the best way to answer your question. Anything I share publicly is no longer coming from a vulnerable space. So if you think about it, how long did it take me to talk about what we talk about when we perform publicly? You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. I had
What?
like just context. Context. Oprah asked me to be on her show. I declined it because I didn't want to talk about Brianna. My head coach wanted the local news to do a story on me. I
It's a true
declined it.
story
What I just said?
about Oprah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a true story.
Wow.
True story. The local news wanted to do a show on me, a piece on me. I declined it because I didn't feel comfortable sharing. Right? Brianna's 28 years old. It took me 26 years, 25, 26 years to be comfortable to share that information. So it was no longer vulnerable for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
So
like,
even on here, like even on here, when you share some of the things you shared and had your moments, that wasn't vulnerable because you were sharing it publicly on a podcast.
if it's real, like the one time I cried while we were
Yeah,
doing
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
I had no
yeah.
control.
it's the only time.
Like, I mean, nigga, how many times am I supposed to fucking cry? Like, let me
Right.
say
No,
this.
I'm saying, but that's the one time that's the first thing I thought of when we talked about.
Yeah, that
Um,
was raw. That was real. I had no control over that. But if I'm sharing a life experience, I have control over that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I'm sharing it, it's no longer coming from a vulnerable place.
So would that mean? And I'm asking all this out of curiosity.
This is a
Does
great
that?
conversation. So
Yeah,
let's keep going.
it is. Does that mean then you're not being in your eyes, you're not being vulnerable on this podcast when speaking?
I'm sharing things that are vulnerable, but no longer vulnerable for me because I'm comfortable sharing it. So they were vulnerable for however long they were. Me sharing it for however long that I didn't share it would have been a place of vulnerability. But you having the information is letting you in. It doesn't affect me emotionally as it once did. But you having the information, you now feel closer to me.
Is that not a definition of vulnerability for you?
No, it is. It's
Okay.
it's 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 it's. I guess another way to say it: if it's too vulnerable, I'm not gonna share it.
What determines too vulnerable? Your emotions behind it
That I haven't reconciled how I feel about it.
within yourself.
Yes,
Okay.
like I didn't. The reason why I didn't share the whole Brianna story, I never for the longest time, I never felt like I was in the clear.
Emotionally about it.
Yeah, so it's like I don't want to talk about this shit.
Yeah, yeah. I want
Like
to
you know
figure
what
this
I'm
shit
saying?
out for myself
Yeah, like
before
I'm
y'all
not
niggas know.
ready because in my mind, if I'm talking about it, I'm ringing the bell. Like I'm
Uh
like, yeah,
huh.
I got it done. But no, I didn't feel like I got it done. But now I'm like, she's 25. She graduated college. She's working. Like, not that my job is done, but my job is done. You know what I'm saying? So I started thinking about um the lessons that I learned during that time. So now I can share it with somebody to potentially help them. But I'm no longer worried about what you're gonna do with that information.
Mm.
So I don't
And
know
is
if
that and that nah? This is hella interesting. So you're no longer worried about what you're gonna do from with that information. So because you're not worried, you're able to share. Like you don't feel like you've crossed that threshold of having to determine whether this is gonna help or harm
yes. Yes. So if I share another, thank you for that because that just helped me. Said differently, nothing can hurt me by sharing this information because I'm solid with how I felt or how I feel about that issue. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you.
if there's something that's raw and I share it and then somebody says something, it's going to get me to react emotionally
Yeah. Uh huh.
because I have not gotten through that. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm sharing it, it's because now there's things that I'll share with very close people that I'm going through, but because it's a trusted circle, like I know who I'm dealing with.
Uh
But if I'm
huh.
sharing something to the public, which is there's no way I can control that, but it doesn't matter what happens because I feel I'm secure. That's a better
I can
word.
feel that.
I'm secure with whatever that was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like so, if
Yeah.
something, like,
Does
for instance, if I bring up the Brianna situation, and somebody says, "Well, you didn't take care of her for this amount of time, or whatever, whatever," I'm like,
Nigga,
what are
what?
you talking about? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like that's not going to impact me at all. But if I'm 17, 18, and they reference those first 5 months she was born, it would trigger me.
Uh,
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm still in it. Like
yeah.
ain't nothing nobody can say to me about it, which is why I'm willing to share. And I still don't share everything
Yeah.
because one, there's just certain things that there's nobody's business. And two, it's like I don't know that that would help somebody. It could
Hmm.
paint me in a great light, but I don't know that it would help somebody. But I shouldn't say that because I don't know what can and what can't help anybody. But it's like another said a different way. Certain things, if I said it would paint somebody in a very dark light, and I'm like, I don't need to do that.
Yep. Oh man, I can identify with that. That makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense. I could definitely identify with that.
Chief, you were about to say something. I'm sure you forgot.
um I did forget. It was more so along the lines of it was
Did
just
we
big.
talk
It
about
was
comfort?
no, it
Talk
was
about
following up on just like, so what if someone took an opportunity to like throw jabs at you about something that you put out there? Like, has it I don't does it happen often? Like that has you so worried about how people are going to respond to the information you share.
I'm not sharing it if I'm worried. That's my point. I'm not sharing it if I'm worried.
You're not gonna take that. He's not gonna take that chance.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not. If I'm sharing it, I'm not worried. So if it helps, awesome. If it doesn't help, awesome. But you can't hurt me with it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm cool.
Yep.
All right. So we have. I want to actually. I want to save these. We have two more questions, and I really think that like these will make us think, and we'll have a pretty good conversation around them. So we're gonna piggyback this onto another episode. This is probably our longest episode we've ever done, fellas.
Nah, we done longer
Nah,
than
Uh,
an hour,
long
24
distance.
minutes.
Yeah,
We've done damn
yeah,
near 2 hours. Yeah.
yeah.
maybe we have, maybe we have. But
Yeah.
this was
I
another
think
conversation that
we're
went
like
all over.
an hour 40.
Another
Hmm.
conversation that went all over the place. I don't know what the hell we're gonna title the episode. What I'm gonna put in the caption, but we gotta have to figure it out. Um, it's always a blessing to be able to have these conversations and share this time with my guys, man. You know, everybody don't got a circle like us, man. They don't have people they can lean on, don't have people they can talk to. Um, and we do a lot of figuring it out on our own, man. And just to be able to get together and bounce some ideas off our chest and spend a whole 45 minutes talking about what's going on in our lives versus having a specific topic to talk about, just is essentially the therapy we need. It's important for everyone listening and watching to know that we are not therapists. That is not our lane, but we have found a space where we have been comfortable in communicating and having these type of conversations. I somebody emailed us and they put Dr. Chris, and I'm like, yeah, I can tell you don't even pay attention to what we got going on because you don't, you know what I'm saying? You're
I
not
saw that
you're
too.
not tapped
Yeah.
right. You're not tapped in what we're doing. Like you just sending out your email blast trying to make it happen. But it's a testament to the work that we're doing, whether or not she felt like you deserved the doctor title and gave you that the respect, or they just weren't tapped in. But either way, we're doing the work that I think is important, and we are we're helping people, fellas. Most importantly, we're helping ourselves. Um, we we created this podcast to our mission is to create a safe space for Black men to openly engage in conversations around their mental health, and we do that consistently and have grown abundantly from it. So please feel free to stay tapped in with us and tell somebody about us, man, because I believe we're changing lives on a daily basis. We like to close every episode with a final thought. Bellhead, why don't you go first, B?
I, I knew he was gonna call me first. I don't know. Like I, I don't, I don't. This episode was everywhere. I don't know. Uh, be I think that question about safety was good, and I think I'll close with this. In that same vein, just be aware of your true authentic self, whatever that is, or whoever that is for you, and then ask yourself how often are you them. You
Yeah.
know, that's my final thought. Learn who your true authentic self is, and then ask yourself how often are you them. Final thought.
P.
uh, Make sure you're doing what you need to do as much as you're doing what you want to do. That's it.
Succinct. I like that. I'm gonna say be brave and don't be afraid to tell your story because there are so many people who are super, super afraid of that vulnerability, and your story could perhaps change their life. Sometimes all people need is relatability to be able to move on to the next level.
Well said.
That's all I got. Um, Fellas, we are done with another one. For those of you who want to tap in with us, we got a voice line 860-410-6160, 860-410-6160. Shoot us a text, give us a call, leave us a voicemail. We do a good job at responding. Hit us up on the email. You can hit us collectively at allblackmenneedtherapy@gmail.com or individually, Chief, Bell, or Prentice at abmnt.com. We appreciate y'all, man. Please share this with somebody. Tell somebody. Get your people on to the podcast. And that's all we got. So per usual, y'all, do us all a favor. Hug a Black man today
Do that shit.
and tomorrow.
Do it.
We out, y'all.
Peace.